Good evening. This is a wonderful evening. It's Wednesday. If you didn't know, some people might like to shout out Mike. If you don't know, Mike. But we have an opportunity to get into the deeper side of the NFL. Sometimes people they want to hear just all the great, and that's what we usually typically are. But sometimes there's a call here or there that just doesn't necessarily happen, and you fear if it's not spoken, it will never be brought up, it will never be addressed, and things will go on. It's a little bit weird that we have certain types of motives and directions that the NFL has went into a certain direction because maybe they want to face the face of the franchise to be a certain way, or maybe they want it to be the best competitive way for money, and that's what it all breaks down to, right? Is money. So when you think about it, there's conspiracies out there, and some of them are true, some of them are just rabbit holes, and some of them you gotta get into to make your own opinion. So I'm here, and I have a really cool opportunity to bring on somebody I don't get to talk to a whole lot, and they reached out to me, and sometimes they're here, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're everywhere. But I'm going to bring on my cousin Kenny, and I want you guys to all have a special warm welcome to him. Something that I would like to, hopefully, if he ever settles down in one place, we'll be able to maybe make this a regular thing. Kenny, how you doing?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I noticed you got the sunshades on, so it's pretty dark where I'm at. I don't know where you particularly are right now, but what's going on? Is it good time to start talking conspiracies, scary stories, something like that? Because I know NFL, that's what we're going to be talking about. But do you have what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, just hanging out at home and walking around outside. I look up in the sky and there's just some weird cloud patterns, man. So I came inside, I went into the bunker and I took a nap. Woke up 4 hours later. I'm not going to lie, I feel like somebody was tinkering around in the apartment. The
Oh
bunker is
boy.
not where the apartment is because you can imagine. I don't want people to know where the bunker is and where I'm staying. Right now, I'm in NorCal. Anywhere there. Everywhere there. Can you see
It's a
my
little
eyes?
alarming sometimes when you wake up.
Can you see my eyeballs?
I haven't be honest with you, I haven't seen your eyes for years,
Well,
and
that's
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 why
kind of the plan.
So Kenny, I would definitely like to say it's good to see you and talk to you. It has been a very long time. I really do appreciate you reaching out to me. It's been hard to get a hold of you. I think the last time we talked, it was when we had dial up. It's been a really long time. The internet's made the world smaller, and it's made it a little bit easier to find people, but I haven't been able to find you so easily. And right now, I know you. We were talking, and there's some stuff that's happening in the NFL, and currently, just to let everybody know. Um, this is a 49er channel somewhat. We do talk 49ers, but we also get into the nitty gritty of the rest of the NFL. So, forgive the 49er background, but Kenny, are you, well, obviously your screen name says 49er, but are you a diehard 49er fan? Let's let everybody know how your thoughts and how everything's going in your neck of the woods, because sometimes people, and I'm a 49er fan, and my dad, my brothers, you know all of them. They're Raider fans, and all my other uncles, your uncle. Well, we have multiple uncles. There's like five of them that are Packer fans. So it's kind of hard to root against certain teams. When you got like a bunch of your family members sitting in the same room and drinking beers or whatever. So let everybody know that's here. How you became a 49er fan, and your one moment, that you're like, yep, that's it. That makes me a Niner.
Well, it's going to be pretty weird. But um, I was living on the East Coast at the time. And 49ers were always on TV most of the time, even though, they were doing really well then. So I was kind of like a bandwagon fan. And I never really stopped liking them, I guess. They were always there. Joe Montana PJs, Steve
I
Young
remember.
PJs.
I remember the pictures. Yep. I think I
Yeah,
got one or two of those hand me downs.
sure.
That's one thing that was always nice about your mom is she did when you guys were around. If there was something that I could fit, and it wasn't something that you totally tore up because again you wore the crap. We'll just say it. This is after hours. You wore the crap out of some of that stuff,
I
and
did.
if it didn't
I
have
did.
holes in it, your mom definitely passed it on.
Well,
Hey.
for a while, I was just walking on my hands and knees for a long time because of the
Mm-hmm.
scoliosis going on. So that took a while. Remember, we used to run around, we used to come over, and we'd hang out in the woods for days. No one would even look for us. We just disappear. You remember me? I was running around like one of them wolves out there.
And that was a little funny too with you with the scoliosis because it really made it neat. Well, not neat, but like the way you ran, you really did seem to be part of the scenery, the natures. You were very wildlife.
Well, I
Oh,
swear they stole that Forrest Gump plot. They stole that from me because that's what happened. I was running from a pack of wolves that weren't my pack, and I was just running like the movie, just running, and then back just like that. That's how I remember it. Back just like that. I wanted to make T-shirts, but there weren't T-shirt making places around. Another great idea, just passing by. Whatever.
it happens. It definitely happens. So again, hey, everybody who's here, thank you so much for showing up. We got John LaJoy, we got the Shaw Show, we got Corey Davis. Yeah, thank you, Corey, for popping in. No, Daniel Berry Sports highlights. Thank you so much, Tony Culp. You guys are awesome. So Tony, I don't think she's gotten to meet you other than just talking like this.
Not
But
face to face.
it'll happen sooner or later. But because you bounce around so often, it's just one of those things that's been hard to. And I understand the government does track certain individuals, and when you are we'll just say it, somebody like you who's a hot commodity, um
I have
you
talents.
know it's hard to necessarily track you down. So thank you again for taking this time to and I don't want to say we're on a scrambler or we're doing anything weird or anything like that, but the government the government is awesome. We love the government.
I
And
do personally. I have a lot of respect for the government.
but if you can't find Kenny at certain times, don't worry. He's totally fine. So
I'm
um
fine. I'm probably watching you. So
that's my point there exactly. It's I don't have to fear that I don't get a Christmas card back from you or don't have one to send to you because you know that when you see me there's still the Christmas cookies in the cookie can that we made you about 6 months ago. And again, it is it's good to talk to you. So being a 49er fan and being able to talk to somebody else who's a Niner fan, how do you feel about this 5 game, 3 game losing streak, and then all of a sudden we're back? Are we
hmm.
back, or I mean, what's your thoughts? Because we played the Baker Mayfield Buccaneers, we play the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Seahawks again, and it doesn't get any easier. It's the Cardinals, and then I think it's the Ravens, and it just doesn't get any easier. So, how do you feel knowing that Baker Mayfield will get an opportunity potentially to plant another flag on his field in front of the two Ohio State boys?
Well, Baker Mayfield. That's the guy in the commercials in the stadium, right?
Yeah, he lives in that stadium supposedly.
That's a sweet pad. So I was always jealous of that. And he did slip up and give us the code. I took a trip over there. That was not the code, just so everybody knows. I think the commercial was just kind of like a joke. So I fell for it. It happens. I felt a fool, and I had to live in Cleveland for 3 months after that. Just couldn't afford to come back. Didn't have a pee to pee in. Oh, I guess I should have censored the piss, and not the pot. It's in the past now. Well, it is after hours, so I apologize. I should have said urine.
Well, it's been a while to talk, and yes, this is the after hours portion. So if anybody's listening, hopefully they're a little bit more mature. We don't want you know, what we say other people to run with, and definitely form your own opinions, of course, right? And you know me, that's how I've always kind of been. But I'm just really excited. The Niners finally break a game, a 3-game losing streak, and it seems like the sky isn't falling anymore. All because what? A man came out of the booth. And I don't really think that's all it is. We got another man, right? So we got a bunch of men now, right? No, we got a great athlete on the other side of the field that will complement Nick Bosa. And now we have our coach who's now down on the sidelines who can probably articulate a little bit faster to some of the guys and say, I need you to do this or this. And even though I said it was man, I want you to get up in his face because everybody else can play this way, but I need you to play this way. And maybe like modify the defense a little bit. But
You know what
what's
I
your
think,
thought?
Brian? I think we weren't there, right? We weren't
Mm-hmm.
there. We don't know what the heck happened. Maybe we're all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers are 10 steps ahead of all of us. We got fans thinking they know everything, and sometimes I'm one of them, and sometimes we're right. But the thing is, the Niners are out there. They're doing their best. They're doing their best to win the Super Bowl every year, even though we can't yet. But we will.
Mm-hmm.
This Baker Mayfield character, he's got a bad rep, I think. I think he's a quarterback in the NFL, and you got to respect that. He
Mm-hmm.
can air it out. He can leave the pocket. He can take a hit. He's a tough kid. He's a tough kid, whether you like him or not, whether he gives you enough touchdowns or he doesn't throw too many interceptions for you, I guess, whatever it may be. He's on a team with a great defense. They're great against the run. They're great against the pass. They're great against defending the running back from catching passes. They got some big names on there. They got some wins. They got some losses. That's the NFL. Don't mean they're bad. I would fear them. I know people are going to laugh, but teams play well for quarters. I think it was Tom Brady who said, maybe not. I could have been dreaming it all. But you have bad quarters. You don't have bad weeks or bad games. You play well in games. And sometimes the quarter you pick to play badly in is the quarter the other team picks to play their best in. And you fall behind 3 touchdowns. And in the NFL, that's a pretty steep hill to climb. So we got to stay ahead, not turn the ball over, and let young Brock Purdy do his thing because he's the star out there. I think a lot of people are saying it's Debo, it's CMC. I really think that we always had those guys, and now we had a new guy, and now we're doing better than ever. I think maybe even better than 2019.
So let's look at that, right? You said maybe we already had those guys, or maybe we're doing better, or maybe Brock Purdy is initially that guy, right? So,
Maybe he's making everybody else better, even Kyle.
so if you take Brock Purdy and put him in the 2019 season, when Debo got hurt, we traded for Emmanuel, right? And we didn't have Ayuk at that time. We didn't have Ayuk in the 2019 season. So we were where? Where
We
were
had
we?
Debo,
We had a
we
quarterback.
had Pettis and Richie James Jr., and I think we had Emmanuel Sanders after week 8, right?
Yep. So
That's not
we
an outstanding wide receiver crew by any means. We surpassed that, I think, by 50 times now
We were still winning
with
without
Jimmy
Debo,
Garoppolo.
and we were winning with Jimmy, right? And then what happens later? We move on, and now we have Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy was winning. If it wasn't for some silly field goal kicker, we would have had an extra win right there. If it wasn't for a silly running back who didn't have gloves on in the Minnesota Viking game, we would have scored a touchdown, and the momentum wouldn't have changed in that game, right? So
Yeah.
there, we could have won two games right there. Now the Bengal game, we were tired. We were super tired. You could see it. But
Exhausted.
now we got a little bit of a rest, and it is a little weird. Maybe this is the best time. Shout out to the chat. We have David Corona here now, and we have Mariah. Thank you so much for all being here. I want to play something real quick because I think this is the best moment to get into it. And Kenny, I know you're gonna love this. So let's get into this. The moment is real, right? When you're looking at times and you're like, what is that all about? Well, there's moments in the NFL, and it makes you scratch your head. So this is the moment in our show.
How did you get that picture of me at the end?
It's been a while. It's been a while, and it was a little hard to get to. You don't really normally take photographs that develop very well. I wouldn't call you a vampire, but it's very hard to
It
get
was a
your picture.
different time, and with the CGI, you can make anybody look like anybody.
So just thinking about it, right? Jimmy misses that pass. He could have became the face of the franchise. Instead, Kermit the Frog, the Chiefs, who haven't won the Super Bowl since ever, right, go on and win it. There was a pass interference call in the beginning of the game, going into halftime with Kittle. There was multiple holding calls. The Chiefs have come out and disputed and already revealed it and said that their gloves were white and it matched the 49ers jerseys, and that's why they were able to get away with it. So, okay, we're over that. We'll move on. We'll move on. So now, if you don't mind us spinning it a little bit away from the 49ers, you have somebody like Aaron Rodgers who leaves Green Bay, miraculously goes to a team that we were trying to trade up for to get their draft pick and get their quarterback. Before they trade away their quarterback, we try to get Sam Darnold. Weird. Now we finally have him, right? Then we tried to trade up to get Zach Wilson because Trey Lance was the pick, but if they could have got Zach Wilson, they very well were going to go with Zach Wilson.
I think Kyle would have liked Zach Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's what I'm getting at too. I think it was just the way he was looking at the whole situation, but Saleh wasn't willing to budge. So we go ahead and we move forward. And now everything that's happened, Saleh gets the quarterback that we ultimately tried to trade for on draft night. We tried to trade. We called Green Bay and said, "Hey, you guys want to? What's up with Aaron Rodgers? You want to let him come?" And they didn't. They didn't want to let him come. They said no. They hung up the phone. Right. Well, then he goes to the Jets. Right. Really funny. Right. Like all Green Bay quarterbacks go to New York. All 49er quarterbacks go to Kansas City. It's really funny how the conspiracy gets just that much thicker. Right. So now you look at it. He goes to New York. He gets hurt right away. Now they're talking about Robert Saleh being potentially fired because of this whole situation and the Jets being in the situation, still having a great defense, but potentially being on the hot seat because he doesn't have a quarterback right now. He would have had Sam Darnold. He stuck with Zach Wilson. He went for Aaron Rodgers, right? He fought the locker room to keep Zach Wilson there, but it's just not working out for him right now. And now with everything that's happening with Wilkes and the potential, our defense bouncing back or not bouncing back, it's funny that we bounced back, but we added a player and we took away a player on the defense. Where's Oliver? I didn't see him anywhere. Maybe I seen him playing left out, but I didn't see him anywhere. So I don't know. What do you think? Like you see what I'm getting at? Like, do you see Saleh potentially coming back to the Niners as a defensive coordinator because of what's happening in New York? Or do you think he'll be able to steer the ship? Aaron Rodgers, the miracle surgery that he's got going on with his ankle, is he going to be able to come back for the playoffs? Or is this just, like, again, it's after hours, folks. What do you think, Kenny?
I would love for Robert Saleh to return after we win our Super Bowl this year and bring maybe Quinnen Williams with him. Is that his name? Isn't he a D tackle? Isn't he one of the best D tackles in football, or the best? Is
By
that it?
Robert,
Quinnen Williams, or who's the one on the line who's a DT? If they could come together and we could draft a really good cornerback with our first pick, because I feel like we can get O-line later.
would you be willing to let Armstead walk to get Saleh and Quinnen?
Hit the road, Jack. I like Armstead, but you got to earn your keep, and you can't be getting money like that. Here's my problem with money, but mostly money in football. When I work, I get paid after, right? So I feel like if Armstead isn't going to play well, he shouldn't get as much money. If he plays better than his contract was written out to be, then he should get bonuses for that. But I don't think anybody should be getting paid the amount of money that Armstead gets to be a body on the line, because I feel like if either you or I were 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, or whatever it is, we could also block on the line. You better be outstanding. I would have tried to move Eric already. And I think that a team would have taken him, and I would have been happy with 3, 4, 5 round picks for that. I think we'd be doing better had we moved on maybe last year and had a guy in here in his second year on the D line with Kinlaw, because I actually don't mind Kinlaw. I think that a man who's hurt deserves some slack. So, and I feel like he's been doing better this year, has he not?
So, okay, if you were going to, real quick, let's say hey to everybody. We got Jim Everett the Great. If you guys don't know about him, it says it all in his name. He's the Great. We got
Well, when
crazy.
someone calls themselves the Great, I mean, they must be, right?
It wouldn't be, you don't lie about that kind of stuff. So
Not
then
online.
you got Niner Sickness Podcast. Beto, he's a really cool guy. Mariah,
That's a
thank
cool
you
name.
again. And David again. Tony, thank you all for everybody being here.
How are you, Tony? It's good to not see you, Tony. I'll talk to you soon.
she's gonna be talking to you soon. She's making actually a list of Christmas cards for everybody. So thank you again. So gotta find out your mom's address if she's not about.
We all look forward to the Culp newsletter. Every year there's some interesting stuff in there.
We'll keep that out of the live stream for right now.
Yeah,
but if
that's
you know,
for family. Strictly for family.
If you know, you know. So would you be willing to give up Armstead to keep Ayuk?
100% tomorrow, the next day, and 1,000 times.
So would you say it's easier to replace Armstead than it is to replace Ayuk?
Well, easy to replace Armstead, I didn't exactly say, because he does his job, right? He just needs to produce some units. Is that a way to say it? We need some sacks. We need some batted balls. We need some anger on that line. We need people to fear him as much as they fear, anybody else on that line, because that's who he is, and he has to play that way. When he had Buckner next to him, he was he was a force, and he has no excuse to not be a force. And I'll give it to him. He's playing better this year maybe than he has in a long time. Would you say that?
So it's really weird with me, and I love the whole idea of the conspiracy theory, right? Because Buckner was a great player, but we let him go. Now we get Armstead, and we had him at the same time. But when he left, it was like almost when Buckner left, something left with Armstead. He hasn't been the same guy. Now he has this plantar fasciitis.
What left was the talent. The talent was what left.
Oh my gosh, you said it right. You said it right there. So like the plantar fasciitis thing's now like the conspiracy again, right? Like is it the left foot, the right foot? I didn't know it could travel, like
I, I I watched him on film, and it looked like both. It looked like, you ever see that show, the Seinfeld show, and the little guy was pretending he was in a wheelchair, but he could walk, and they were trying to see which leg it was, and he even forgot. That's what happens when you're lying.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. I haven't introduced you properly, Kenny. I know a lot of people are bouncing in here.
I
Shout out to
can't.
Corey Davis and Ryan, Beto again, Jim Everett, the great Corey Davis, Crazy Juice, Tony, Mariah, the Shaw Show. So Corey, the sad thing about Kenny is he doesn't really have a YouTube account because he's one of those guys that he has usually a burner phone.
No
So
virtual footprint. I don't go
yeah,
online. I don't have this app. It was a struggle to bring this app on here. I did it for Brian.
Corey, Kenny's one of those guys that's like always on the move. He's probably listening to your chat when you don't know. He's one of those, incognito guys.
Nothing else to do.
Again, sometimes there's these ideas and there's these thoughts and there's sometimes just situations in life that you don't need, again, the government, looking for you or finding you or figuring out where exactly, sometimes not everything's patented and sometimes things were patented for a reason, but the patent didn't go through and it's just not right, so not to say that, Kenny's living out there in the woods somewhere, but
I'm close. I'm close.
definitely believe, Corey, that Kenny is a supporter and he is definitely listening and he's listening probably when you're not because if you're not listening and staying ahead of the game, then right. So okay, my next question for you, Kenny, is
Can I
have
do
you
one? Can I do one tinfoil hat? Can
yeah,
we? You
yeah.
know what we should do? We should call the tinfoil hat. It should also be kind of like a little like a cult fiction. Would you say that's kind of, we can name it cult fiction? And we could, because you know how the Culps do. The Culps, they take over, man. We brand things, we buy stores, and then we buy the store next to that, and we burn it down for no reason. We just don't want competition. That's just how. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
that
I'm,
was
I'm
that was
sorry because I forgot we were online and people were listening to this.
that was one party and you'll never
One
let the guy so at one point in time, guys, there was a business that my family owned and next door there was another business that my family owned, and because somebody didn't turn off the heater at the right time and somebody there so some stuff happened, but
stuff happened.
things happen. So
Nobody got hurt.
it was
One cow. That's it.
oh my gosh.
Nobody's gonna cry about a cow on a farm, especially when we ate it after. Nobody cares.
So my family's moved around a lot, and I know you hopefully have heard that Kenny's been around a lot as well. And sometimes, like when you lived in Kentucky or Tennessee or different places in the country, you kind of have to deal with what you have at the moment. And when there's a major ice storm or there's a major storm, tornado coming or something, you just don't get out. You bunker down for the night. You stay in, and when you do go to town, you make going to town worth it. You don't just go there to dilly daddle. You go there to get your supplies and maybe go get you something at the Tasty Freeze, and then you go back home because that's. But
Yeah.
so, if you know anything about beef jerky or you have any questions, please put it in the chat. Kenny might be able to answer them. But okay, we're gonna move on to the next one I got, and it's the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns got rid of Dobbs. The
That
Cleveland the
seems to
Cleveland
be not the right move at the moment.
they got rid of Dobbs. He went to the Cardinals. The Cardinals get rid of him. He goes to Minnesota. So he's like the miracle man, right? Like he's
Yeah.
just everywhere. He's saving the day for everybody. Dobbs is the one who beat the Cowboys. And then he goes in and saves the day for Minnesota after Kirk Cousins. You like that? Gets his ACL. Yeah, he's probably not.
I don't believe any of it, Brian. ACL, my butthole. That guy wanted to take the season off. He's mad. He hasn't won there in ever. They took his wide receiver away, took his running back away. He's trying to
So
be a nice guy about it. To Cleveland before Brady went to Cleveland. What about Philip Rivers? Wasn't this guy on hold last year for us? Is that someone who'd be interested?
Philip Rivers.
Yeah, Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers is a good quarterback. I don't know if he would be ready to come back. I know he was interested last year. Shout out to Brian. Daytona is in the chat. We got John. Thank you, Laura Cat. You're still here. We appreciate y'all. Just so everybody knows the direction of the show. If you have a conspiracy and you want to throw it out in the chat, we'll try to read it.
I
But what's
have many
happening?
conspiracies. Let me tell you one conspiracy. Okay, the only reason that Mike McDaniels is even hanging around is because that trade that he made, that whole thing was to give McDaniels pieces so that he can compete with Kyle and compete with D'Amico. And I know what you're saying. You didn't know about the Texans because the way they started. BS. That is D'Amico Ryans. He's from the tree, LaFleur, McVay. It never ends. You know what I mean? Those guys are all playing, they just playing together. They're ignoring, most coaches are being ignored in the NFL. This game is about 7 or 8 teams competing with each other. Everyone else is an obstacle, and sometimes that obstacle winds up making you go backwards. But I don't think too often. There's not enough interest in many teams, in many cities, and that's why they move around and whatnot. We need smarter people making football better. Is that the simplest way I can put it? I guess. Can't we invest in making football better, more efficient, safer, more fun, more exciting, larger rosters, more money, more games,
So
longer
so
seasons?
so then at this point, then what are we doing right now? Because it seems like the Patriots are the dynasty that's dying. The
They had
Chiefs
their time. They can't come back. That's enough.
the Chiefs are now the ones that are aspiring, but I think they're still starting to slowly fade. But now they have this new surgence with the Taylor Swift effect.
Mm.
So, what's your thoughts on that? Do we need a
Taylor Swift
superstar?
is
Do
all
we,
about money in football. The Kelsey, this happened with baseball with Jennifer Lopez and A Rod. The same BS, fake relationship publicists marrying people in fantasy world that they have fantasy too. It's just not with players. They use real people in life, not in games. And they move them around and they make pretend like Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson and all these fake things just to get people to like go crazy about it. And there's nothing else in the world anymore, Brian. That's this social media has kind of
well,
taken its toll
is it
and
a little bit odd?
making things important that weren't really important or aren't important in the grand scheme.
So are you? So what are you trying to say? Like if Travis Kelsey gets traded off the Chiefs or something happens, and or there's a breakup song that happens, then there's going to be a bunch of Kansas City Chiefs number 87 jerseys getting burnt, like on TikTok videos or something, or
You bet, buddy. That you bet. It's like getting when you hanging out with the bully in school. Get ready for some bully collateral damage. All right, you with the bully now. So when something goes bad, you're associated with it now. So now you have to they got to get married, have babies, start a puppy rescue, and be philanthropists forever. Well, because the day they break up, the whole world will fall apart and they'll hate a beach, and her fans will hate him, and his fans will hate her, and football will just be an afterthought in a song. Actually, I think she already put him in a live concert. She already put his name in a song. That's from what I heard already. Yeah.
all right. So it's getting close to Thanksgiving. I don't know where you're going to be having turkey at. You're more than welcome to come over. I'm going to be doing my normal. I usually drop a couple turkeys in the deep fryer. So you can come over. That'd be great. I'd love to try a turducken, but I don't think you deep fry a turducken. I don't think that would be the right way to do it. But so
Yeah.
we're thinking about this, right? And we're talking like it's getting closer and closer to the end of the season, and some of these games really have like a sensitive moment to it, right? And right now we do have one more team we have to play that's on a bye, coming off of a bye, and that's Kyler Murray, and it will be the Arizona Cardinals who seem to be maybe getting better than they should be at a certain point in time. But just to come back a little bit, the league is about conspiracies and about key moments, drama points, right?
Mm,
So we're gonna talk about Tampa Bay and Mayfield, the ceremony flag, boom, stomp, right? That's gonna be everybody wants to see Bosa and Chase Young do that on the field, right? But
right.
the more important game is back to the turkey game, and this time it's in Seattle. So do you think the league is trying to steer it so we can have that moment where we're watching the 49ers eat on the field, or is this going to be a sad moment for the Niners and a wake-up call? What's your
Man.
thoughts?
Well, we talked about the Bucks. I think we both agree they'll beat the Bucks.
I
Even
believe they
though even though I gave the team their respect and there's a lot of things they do good. We just seem like the more dominant team with the better quarterback, and that's we say that all the time. If if they have Pat Mahomes, they're probably winning. If they have Rodgers, Brady, they're probably winning, right? Burrows. It doesn't hurt to have the guy that runs your entire team be the best player, right? That always helps. What I think is going to happen is let's not forget that we'll be on 4 days rest, right? They will too, right? Or have they already had their game?
No, they'll have their game. I think the same week that we have our game,
Okay, so
and
they have their game on Sunday too. So we're both on 4 days rest.
I believe so.
Okay, well that's fair enough. We were both on 2 weeks rest with the Jags, and you saw what happened. I think we have Seattle's number, and I know I've actually watched Joe Stevens a few times. He's a pretty cool dude. He has good points there. He believes in his team, and I can tell that he knows what he's talking about, and I'll trust him because I don't follow that team. The way he talks about them, they seem to be a formidable opponent. While I still think we're the better team, maybe just because I don't know that team, So, but I feel like we're the better team. I feel on paper, which means nothing. And every game that came before it means nothing. But it, may give you some solace, I guess, or some comfort to know some stats to give you you sleep better at night, I guess. But you know what happens the next day. Nothing matters but the moment and the breaks, right? Because I remember we had how many turnovers, maybe, right? How many interceptions have we dropped? How many fumbles did we not recover? Or how many penalties did we have that ruined things? Um, so as long as we can stay on the positive of the turnover, just like in the Bucks game, I think we got this. I don't think Geno is a great quarterback. I think that like what people think about Brock. I think his team really helps him, but at the same time, one and the same. They're just doing well together. So if they can be healthy for the game, I think we got a tough game. I don't know what's going to happen. In the end, I think we'll split or sweep, but I don't think we'll be swept. Can I give you a 1/3 answer?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I'm looking at it. I think the NFL is totally like a story, right? Every season they have to make your highs and your lows, and some teams have better stories than others, and then at the end they either have a Cinderella story or they're dark horse or maybe they, oh man, sorry Charlie, maybe next year, right? And I'm tired of being the sorry Charlie guy, but I definitely would love to see the Niners story be we get to eat in Thanksgiving dinner on the Seattle Seahawks field. I think that would be wonderful. I feel like the next week when we're going to play the Eagles, that might be a game that because we had our Super Bowl and we ate so much turkey in Seattle, That might be a game that we might slow down a little bit, but that's the game that everybody's been potentially pushing for. The December 3rd game, that's the game, that's the game of the year, right?
Now,
So
what kind of rest are the Eagles? Are they all? Are we all getting the same rest when we meet up with the Eagles?
I don't believe so.
Are we
So
at home or are we away?
real quick, Seattle plays the Rams this week, and we play Baker Mayfield. The following week will be the Niners play Seattle. That'll be the Thanksgiving game. Then the Eagles, let's see, Eagles will play Buffalo. Buffalo will go to Philadelphia. That's going to be a hard game. And that game, we will actually have a little bit more time because we'll play the Thursday night game on November 23rd. Then the Eagles play Sunday, November 26th. So then when we come to the Thursday night game, the December 3rd game, that will be, let's see, it's an evening game too. Wow, that's weird. Because isn't most morning, East
Hey,
Coast game.
did we not talk about the schedule this year? What happened there? I've seen some people talking about it in the chats here and there, but I mean, how do you schedule 3 games in, like, what was it, 15, 16 days or something like that, where they had 3 games away, back home, away?
Kenny, Kenny, why is a Philadelphia Eagle game at 4:25?
Eastern time?
Yes.
That's pretty standard. That's the PM game on the East Coast. That's when games would start. They start at 1:25 p.m. and I think 4:30 when I was on the East Coast. I had to watch the Giants.
It's an East Coast game. It's not going to be a 10 o'clock game.
No, it'll be 1 p.m. for us.
So that's the later game over there in the region. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where they stay when they go. Oh, so we're going out there, obviously. I'll tell you what. I don't like the East Coast. I don't love the cold and the rain, and I don't know if it's going to be time where there's like snow or like icy rain by that time. That's going to be terrible.
See, I could see if it was in California that it would be the 4 o'clock game, the later game, the 1 o'clock game, but it's in Philadelphia, and for it to be, oh boy, that's going to be a late night game back there. It really is going to be dark back there. So okay, we played the Eagles right after they played the Bills, and the Bills have been horrible recently. Your thoughts on the Bills? Is Josh Allen ever going to be able to recover, or are the Bills done? They just fired Ken Dorsey.
Isn't Ken Dorsey somebody that was named to replace Kyle?
Yes.
That you see what I mean? The fans should have very little input on things. Maybe we should have input on the way the helmet looks like. No offense. People, they go to school for this stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of just rich kids put in places from nepotism and whatnot, but the teams are like, their whole goal is to win the Super Bowl, man. Like, they have people all over scouting 24/7, 365 in other countries, even looking for anything, any little thing to put them over the top, but from the other teams. Like, it never ends. So when the hate on the coaches, on Wilkes, on Kyle, on a rookie, I guess you can say, not anymore, because I think he's played his 17 regular season games, so no one can call him a rookie anymore, even though they probably shouldn't have. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people have been asking, and they've been making statements on Twitter and Facebook and any other Instagram, anywhere you can, write something clever, and keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, right? And you know what I'm talking about because, you know, Kenny, as long as I've known you, you've never really been that internet guy. You've been more like, let me stay away from it because my fingerprints might be read through the keyboard or something.
Hard to avoid it anymore. I can't even go to the bank without giving my fingerprint or my face tattoos. Or no, I don't have any face tattoos, but I might as well get my credit card printed right on my damn face. That way I don't have to pull anything out of my pockets. Dang waste of time.
So everybody's been throwing out the word elite. What in your mind makes someone elite? And I want to ask it in a general question, and then we're going to focus in, but elite. What is elite to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, elite is defined by smart people and written in a book somewhere. I never read the definition. I'm gonna assume it's somebody really great, and I know great quarterbacks that haven't made it all the way to the end and completed the ultimate goal, but I think that they're better than quarterbacks who have won the Super Bowl. So I can't say let's say elite. I mean, those names are like in black and white to me. You know, those names are legends, older players, people who we've seen their whole career play. You know, how can you judge someone and they haven't played their whole career? You know, you got to look at the whole body of work. So for me to call somebody elite, I may have to wait until their entire career ends. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And the only other way you could, I guess, justify it, anybody can justify it the way it makes sense to themselves. But I guess you look at, there's so many players, there's so many teams, right? So there's always so many options out there. So if you take maybe the top three players of each position and say, okay, those are your top players for this individual season, those would be your elite players for that season. But I would have to say you have to take a
But
little bit
like
of
even the best players of this entire year, I mean, how many years have been so, like I know I love Debo, but he's had one super duper season, right? Has he ever duplicated that season? I mean, so maybe elite can go for a stretch of games or maybe a season. Because how can you not call the entire Miami Dolphins elite? Didn't they go undefeated?
so there
Did
you
they
go.
win a Super Bowl?
There you go. So like that would be my point, right? You could have elite moments, right? But the thing that makes you elite in time is getting that ring. So if you get to the Super Bowl and you win the ring, you get to lift the trophy. At that point, it doesn't matter if you're a long snapper, kicker, punter, you're elite, right? Right?
I mean, I'm sorry, but if you go like Brock did, if you go 13 games in a row, I mean, how many people have done that? Isn't that what elite means? How many people have won 13, 12 games in a row? I know Roethlisberger, right?
So can you
Who else is in that tier of 12, 13, 15, whatever it is in a row games?
do you ever hear anybody diminishing Roethlisberger the way Purdy gets diminished? Didn't Roethlisberger have a really good defense? Didn't he have a really good offense?
And a
Didn't he have
great coach?
so you look at it and you're like, wait, how is this like he went really far and but it's the talent, it's the weapons. It's so Brock now is being slandered or is being put down because he's got good players around him. Don't you still have to say the audibles? Don't you still have to call out the cadence? Don't you still have to run the play? You
Well,
know,
yeah, right. Even if, I mean, there you go. You just said it, right? Like who's elite on their own? Who's elite by themselves? Nobody. It's kind of tough. I mean, I love Barry Sanders, and people like that. But Barry Sanders, as great as he was, there were other men on that field, whether they were just setting picks or
is it
whatever. He couldn't have done that alone.
is it fair to say that there's two types of elite? There's like you could be elite talent but you're not an elite with a ring, right? So like Barry Sanders, great player, probably super great player, right? One of the best running backs, but
Maybe the best.
didn't get a ring, right?
Oh man, see, I didn't even realize that. There you go. And he's not. How could he? Okay, so there you go. See, that's easier for me. You want me to pick running back elite? I could probably give you a few. See, Eric Dickerson for me is elite, but he didn't finish his career the way he started it. That doesn't mean he wasn't incredible. His rookie season, I think, was the best rookie season of any rookie running back. Am I wrong? I guess we'll have to. We need. If we're
Let
gonna
me
do
throw
this,
another one at you.
we need somebody like that, like is good with the numbers and can look stuff up real fast.
Let me
That's
throw
what we
another
need.
one at you. Would you consider Marino elite?
There's a lot of names. I really like Jim Kelly, and I know that we played them during that time, and I still recognize the man's talents. I was like, hey man, if we didn't, and I was just a kid, but I was like, if we didn't have Joe Montana, I mean, I would want Jim Kelly.
I think if you argue the, or again, we decide that there's two ways of calling somebody elite. You don't necessarily have to have a Super Bowl ring to be elite, but that definitely goes a long way with your argument. But you have to have a phenomenal amount of athletic talent or some kind of grit or be some kind of gamer to be elite. Because, like Doug Flutie, wouldn't you would you consider Doug Flutie more like Brock Purdy, or would you?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a tough one. I wouldn't say they were exactly the same, but they
No,
have similarities.
they got that like they
They
can.
got that little guy, like that little tough guy. They have a dog that's, you know how they have Dobermans? Well, they have miniature ones, and they don't know that they're miniature. They don't care. They'll go right up to you and they'll like mouth off to you like they're 4 or 5 times as big. That's the guy you want.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so Matthew Stafford is going to go play the Rams. Well, he is the Ram quarterback, so he is playing them. He should probably just retire, but he still has a little bit left, and he's going to go play against the Seahawks for the Rams this week, supposedly, and he practiced. Oh man, how much longer do we expect to see Stafford in the league? Does he have anything left? Do the Rams think they're going to be able to run the table? Are they? Is this really even worth mentioning? Because I think the Rams are like 3-6.
Are we talking about Carson Wentz?
So he was the recent one that they just signed, but Matthew Stafford was practicing, so it sounds like Matthew Stafford's going to get to start.
Well, I would hope so. I don't know. Carson Wentz, I mean, I know he's had some success, but from what I understand, he has issues with his teammates. Isn't that true? It's not a physical talent thing. I think he's like a strange dude. And, it takes one to know one. So, I don't really like Carson Wentz. So, hopefully Stafford can start. I'm surprised that he was doing as well as he was this year. They're pretty much just playing like passing most downs, 5 wide receivers, just letting it go. And because that's what he can do, right? You send 5 wide receivers out there for Stafford and give him just 2 seconds, and he's going to get rid of it. Doesn't their wide receivers have like, I think the one kid, the Polynesian, is he Polynesian? He's got like 900 yards. It's insane. Do we have anyone with 900 yards?
The only
Does
person,
Brandon Ayuk have 800 something?
oh
Maybe.
boy, I got to look that up. I know
I
CMC, and I
think
know.
Brandon Ayuk, as much as I like him, I mean, he is still kind of fourth option, really. And his numbers, I mean, he doesn't get the targets. He gets a lot of long receptions, but he doesn't have a lot of receptions. He gets a few receptions and does twice as much with them than everybody else does, is more what it's like. So, as much as I like him, if I'm him, I want to go somewhere where they throw the ball every other play. Like, I'd want to be on the Rams, to be honest with you, as long as Stafford was healthy. But I don't think Stafford can even do another year.
I don't think he can do another year. I think that's why they brought in Wentz. I think they really messed up on letting Baker Mayfield go, but
Yeah, I
Baker
agree.
Mayfield start. And I know, him in Tampa Bay, people kind of make fun of him, but he's really in a good position for him to be in Tampa Bay because he's set up to throw.
I
Baker
thought,
Mayfield really play if he's given the right opportunity.
yeah, I thought Daniel Jones should have gone to Tampa. Did he not want to go? Like maybe, sometimes people they get set up somewhere and they don't like to move around. I get that because I move about every year. So I have to buy new everything because once stuff has been used, I can't use it anymore. And I just leave it there and I just leave the house as is. and I just disappear. Somebody will clean it up. I'm pretty clean, so I don't leave a mess, but I just clear out of there before people start asking questions.
Yeah, I think you moved one time, and it was going to be your birthday or something. I went over to your house, and you weren't home, and you'd already moved. And
Sounds about right.
I didn't get the invite, but we'll talk about that later. I'm not. I was
I
hurt.
always send you a postcard.
Yeah, but there's no return address, so it's kind of hard to But again,
Just so
that.
you know I'm all right and I know where you are.
Well, I know you're always watching, and that makes me a little weird. So I turn the lights off at night for sure. But
Are we gonna have to pay for that? I bet we will. We're gonna get a call from the FCC or whoever.
It's definitely been fun though.
I'll cut
So
them a fake check if they need one.
so what's going on in Buffalo? I know it's just going really wild. Kickers up there missing kicks, and quarterbacks throwing balls like they're punting or something, and it's all okay. Running backs are fumbling the ball right back into their hand. Uh, I don't. Ken Dorsey getting fired. I know we mentioned that, but Ken Dorsey was a former 49er quarterback, and they did say that he could have been a good option to supplant Kyle, but Kyle ain't going anywhere. So I don't know. Let's get into your playoff predictions, early playoff predictions. Right? It looks like the Bills are falling apart. The Bengals are off. The Steelers don't have an offense, but they seem to be winning games. The Browns have fallen apart because now they don't have a quarterback, but they haven't had a quarterback most of the year. So it looks like the only team in that division is the Ravens. Then the Patriots, they're not the Patriots anymore. The Jets aren't the Jets. The Bills, unless they can pull something together. So the only thing right there is the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Then you go down to the South, and you got the Titans, and you have the Colts and the Texans. The Texans are up and coming, and you have the Jaguars. And Jaguars, Texans, they might both make and the Titans they might all make the playoffs there. What do you
How
think?
about this? How about this crazy team? The Raiders.
Making the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in second place in their division right now.
5 wins with 8 games left. Whoever thought that?
What are they doing with Jimmy? Are they going to cut Jimmy, or are they going to keep him out there?
Should have never signed him. Should have gone with Aiden O'Connell right off the bat. Just like we should have gone with an unnamed player right away and just gotten it over with and found out what we had. Instead of making it a big deal, splitting the fan base in half over some crazy stuff. I've heard some weird things, but the things that were being said about that trade, listen, it was a terrible trade. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think we're going to spend all that stuff to draft a kid that we don't like. You know what I mean? And I know that I'm hearing that the front office, the big guys wanted Trey and not Kyle. But Kyle. Kyle will walk. He'll walk. So did he really not want him? He could have said no. They're not going to listen to Kyle.
Well, in the same mentality, right? If Kyle really wanted him and Kyle got him, then why didn't Kyle play him? Or did Kyle see that he needs more work? And then why are you going to let him go, Kyle? If you really wanted him, why are you letting him go and letting the franchise push you into not playing him? So I think it worked both ways there.
I mean, he could have played that game. They would have started him, I think, against the Bengals. I think everybody would have got what they wanted, and we could have found out more. I mean, I'm a Brock guy. I'm going with Brock because of what I've seen and what he's produced. Because if I'm a boss to somebody, I need results. Number one. I need results. I don't want excuses. Hurt or not, years had passed, and we can't have another McKinnon or Hurd on the team. Guy just sitting there for 4 years, and then he leaves the next year and he's good to go. I didn't even really like the Bosa signing because I was afraid of his injury when he wasn't even, he was injured before he even took a step into the league. And it's just, with the history that we have, it's just signing players all the time that are hurt. It's just something we got to get away from. So, and I think we did that this year with people, especially in the draft.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Even though
I think
even though everyone we drafted is hurt.
we're
So,
really good at that, huh? Drafting players that are hurt right off the bat. Everybody thought it was a Trent Baalke problem, but it seems to be an organization gift or something. Or it's
well,
just our
injuries in general are like off the hook. I mean, I remember 20 years ago, I don't remember anyone being hurt, but then again, I may not have been following so closely, but I mean, I feel like injuries are a new thing when we should be making advancements in medicine, not going backwards. So,
well. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. And what's your thoughts again? Not for Baker Mayfield's game, but how do you
well,
feel?
you mind if I ask you some questions, Brian?
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
All right, great. How about was that last game a must win for us? Was the last game a must win?
Mathematically, no, but for a team standpoint, yes.
Yeah, sure looks better on, when you look at the record. I wouldn't be nervous about missing the playoffs at 5-4, but it's sure nice to pick up that win.
Yeah, and for them to lose four in a row, that's kind of like a real. That's what happened to the Buccaneers. They lost four in a row, then they just won a game, and it's really hard to shift gears when you're losing like that. Everything just gets pushed down on top of you, and it just keep buried on you.
Yeah. All right. How about can we win when we're not 100%?
I say we can, but it depends on who's not there. Are we talking about like Mitch Wisnowski's not going to be there?
I'll give you three people that aren't going to be there as a scenario. All right. Colton McKivitz.
Yeah, we can win without Culp.
All right. How about Brandon Ayuk?
Yes, we can win without Brandon Ayuk. It'll be hard, but we can win without him.
Last one. I saved the tough one for last. George Kittle. Our only tight end and fifth offensive lineman.
That would be the most difficult one, but yeah, no, we can't win without Kittle. We can't.
Okay.
He's been playing this whole season hurt. He started the season without a groin injury. With a groin injury, he hasn't really been able to recover from it. And they had him blocking at first. Then every once in a while, you've seen him get a pass here and there. And I think he's starting to come out of his injury a little bit because they're starting to show him more and more in the pass. But maybe we just really need him to catch the ball too. So I think at this point, as long as we have Kittle on our team, that's currently the 2017 and current 49er vibes. That's our locker room.
Would you say he's the Trent on the scoring end of the offensive team? Would you say he's as important as Brock or Trent right now?
Yes, most definitely. For a emotional aspect, like a spiritual, if you want to make as a morale, he's our. And then when we do need somebody, we can usually count on Kittle in the middle. So that makes me upset when people say, "Oh, get rid of Juszczyk, get rid of Kittle, get rid of Debo because of their contracts." You're like, "Whoa, these are the guys that's on the team. This is like the identity of the team." And when you just want to change everybody up, are we still going to be the 49ers after all these players leave? Yeah, we'll still be wearing red and gold, but it'll definitely be a bunch of new names that you don't recognize. So are we trying to win a championship with these guys that we know, or are we just trying to save money? I don't know.
All right. Have we beaten any impressive teams?
I would say the Steelers were impressive week 1.
Agree.
I would say the Rams were impressive week 2 because
maybe not now, but they were.
But at the moment, yeah. I would say that the Cowboys were the Cardinals were impressive because they had just beat the Cowboys and they are a divisional opponent. They usually play us really tight. People don't want to listen to it or remember it, but the Cardinals and the Niners, their overall records like 33 and 36 or 34 and 31, something very, very close. The Niners lead the series right now, but not by much, not by much at all. And the Cardinals always play us really tight. When we had Kaepernick threw like 3 or 4 interceptions to them in one game. And
Yeah.
it's those moments you're like, man, like we always say they're our little brothers, but they seem to beat us, and they beat us at the wrong times. Steve Wilks, the coach for the Cardinals, beat us twice in that year, and then he went on, and now he's full circle coming back, and now he's our defensive coordinator. So, yeah,
And Wilkes was with Sam, right? In Carolina.
yeah, Sam Darnold, yep. Yep. And then the Cowboy game was pretty difficult for the most part, because they scare you for the most part. They could score a lot of points, but they didn't score against us, so that was awesome. And then the Browns game was a letdown, even though we played well enough to win the game, but not well enough to win the game. If that makes sense.
Right.
The Viking game, I think we came into the Viking game. A little beat up, but I don't think that was all it. I think it was the momentum shift. If we would have scored instead of fumbling the first portion of the drive after the interception, if we didn't have that CMC fumble, I think the Niners would have won that game. Just the shift in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then the Bengal game was probably the worst game for us because we had opportunities to stay in the game. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. So the most impressive game, I guess, would be the Jaguar game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And then I would probably say that the Dallas game after that one, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
Just,
We lost that Cleveland game, but I didn't think it was a bad game. We were
no.
on 4 days rest. We went across the country, and it was the early game, like you said before. And it was cold, and it's not California, and it's early. And I mean, when I don't sleep enough, I know, and I'm not even practicing all day and playing football. I'm just doing boring, normal life things. And if I just don't get enough sleep, it's like a mess, right? These
Mm-hmm.
guys, they got a lot going on. They can't be physically weary, right? I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. Being tired is just. I mean, they've done studies when they deprive people of sleep. It really screws with their brains. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. So I'm looking at this the next couple games. My overall prediction would be we've lost 3 right now. I'm running the table. I'm saying we're going 14-3. We're gonna get the number 1 seed. I think we're gonna win out. I think we're winning out. I think the Eagles are gonna lose a couple games. That you can't tell at this point. You can't tell me the Bills aren't gonna bounce back. They're going to be playing, the Eagles. That's going to be a formidable game. The Eagles have to play the Chiefs this week. That's going to be a really hard game. So they could lose those 2 games right there, come and play us. We will, give them another loss. It's really hard. They got to do something about the tush push. They got to regulate it or do something about it. No, I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I mean,
That's what they want to do. But
I guess it's okay. It's just boring. There's plays like this that ruin things. It's like you just take the fun out of something when you have a cheat like that, right?
can you imagine them doing the tush push the entire game?
They technically could if they went every fourth down. You right?
Yeah, they would
Well,
never.
that's a
So
good segue into my next question. Do we have a stand a chance against the Eagles? I said it that way because that's how most people feel who aren't Niner fans. They think we have very little shot. They see them because they've been, put on the pedestal already and made the kings or whatever, right? Even the Chiefs, I mean, they've been losing and Mahomes has lost weapons. His contract is starting to show why you don't pay anybody a lot of money, right? Because the rest of your team will suffer. And now he can't even find a guy in the NFL that's been playing football since he was 7 years old to catch a ball. right? A guy who's been playing football since Pop Warner and always been a wide receiver and gets a pass from one of the greatest quarterbacks in history and drops it. How can you? What's the excuse for that?
Sending Kiss, Cynthia, she brings up a good point. How is it
Hi,
different than
Cynthia.
how's it different when Jimmy does the quarterback sneak?
Oh, that was ugly. I
I mean,
mean,
when he
I
did
know
the
that we'd always get it, and he was the king of it, but it's nothing like the tush push. The tush push gets like 3.4 yards per attempt. That's why I said if you went for it on fourth down every time, you could do the tush push all game for 40, 50 yards, and just it's the most annoying thing in the world. And that's why I'm saying something like that ruins a sport. It'll ruin the whole sport. If you just know that's going to happen, and then what's going to happen is you're going to have defenses trying to do strange things to counter this unstoppable play. They're going to get penalties. It's going to be worse. You're going to have helmet to helmet if the quarterback doesn't get low enough, which we saw already this year. It's
our
just a
quarterback,
bad play. It's a boring play. It's boring. It's as boring as an extra point. We should always be going for two. Always. If you miss
would,
it, you get it next time. If you miss it again, you're going to have to kick a field goal. What can I tell you?
would,
But,
would you say
that extra
this
point,
tush push? Would you say this tush push has become more dangerous than a kickoff return?
not as dangerous, not as dangerous. It's just, it's not as much as a dangerous thing for me, really. It's just another thing for me to make an excuse about it. It's just, it's honestly, for
How do you
me,
defend it, right? How do you defend it? You got quarterbacks trying to, go over. They're getting picked up and pushed by their players behind them,
it's
right?
a very low percentage stop,
We
basically.
have we have players like Fred Warner and other players who are jumping over the pile to try to attack hit the quarterback. Our quarterback's already suffered a head injury because he got hit the same way our players are jumping over the pile to try to make a stop. So um, if they outlaw kickoffs, they better outlaw the tush push. I tell you what, or jumping over the
Well, didn't
pile.
the when the XFL first came out, they did a different thing. They were trying to avoid injuries as well because they were already short on talent and they didn't want people losing their helmet on kick returns, right? Because I mean, there's only so much talent pool left when you're doing the XFL. And so they would start on each other's goal line, right? And they'd put the ball at the 50 and the two fastest players would sprint to it and get it like a dodgeball. And I always thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen. And that original XFL league also gave us the eye in the sky that we now have that takes such great pictures and covers the field the way it does, which I believe was invented by Vince McMahon. And it sounds weird. Maybe he just funded the research. Obviously, I don't think he was tinkering in mechanically, but I think that he was one of the people behind that. That was one of the things of the league. That was one of the big, new things. That view, that was supposed to be part of the fun. So
So Cynthia wants to ask, why is he tush push more yards than what Jimmy G used to do? And I think
Uh,
the only explanation is the personnel. There are players that they had and the leverage that they're getting. They're just getting more of a push.
well, who's the best? The Chiefs and the Eagles, right? And who's got the best O lines? I bet you it's the same teams. That's kind of how it works. That's when Manning became who he was. Everyone knew the names of his linemen. Who knows the name of linemen? Only your own team, probably, right? And a few superstars. But when I was little, I knew everyone on that line. And they're still people. They're still part of football. They're just impressive, great offensive linemen that protected him so he can get that ball out there. So who did he have? Garcon? Or was that later on? Or he had Marvin Harrison? Was that Marvin Harrison?
Yep.
I mean, he had two guys at least at one point. I mean, he had three at one point.
Brandon Stokely, Dallas Clark.
And then
Yeah.
right, yeah, he had a tight end that was nice, and he had Edgerrin James, didn't he? Oh no, that was
Yes.
Falk or
He
James.
he had Falk to begin with for like 1 year, and then he got Edgerrin James.
It's not a man. That Falk year must have been great. I guess
Well,
that
that
was
was
his
the
rookie year, right?
yeah, the 98 year. And then what happened after that? 99, he goes to the Rams. 2000, they win Super Bowls, so it's like it just that was the turning point for the 49ers when the Rams got their quarterback and their running back at the same year.
Yeah, Cynthia. So just the talent on the O line is basically what it is. I mean, we have okay linemen. The Eagles and the Chiefs, I think, have some pretty great linemen on both sides. Well, the D is not so great. Well, actually, no, the D is really great in Kansas City this year, isn't it? See, that's what happens. You got to give where you get, right? If you're going to give Mahomes all this money, the D better be incredible because you have to give up somewhere. You can't have it all. So,
I agree. It's all about the D. That's what she said, right?
wow.
Uh, oh man. So,
Wow.
so Kitty, when do you want to do this again? Can we try to do this again maybe next Wednesday? Or I can't pinpoint you. I know maybe I should ask you in the private chat, but
We should fly by the seat of our pants.
all right. So if you heard that correctly, folks,
We're like a taco truck in your neighborhood, just popping
oh,
up.
that would be so awesome if taco trucks were like ice cream trucks and they just drove around to people's house, like neighborhoods and stuff. Like I would be so into I oh my gosh. And I don't know for you guys folks, but like I used to walk my dog at nighttime, and I think you met my dog, Maggie. She was the brindle boxer, but we used to walk and oh boy, there was a taco truck open late at nighttime. And it was about a mile away from my house. And I'd walk up there with her, and they had the best burrito. And you're like, a burrito at 11 o'clock. What sounds better than that, right? So like I'd walk there, get a burrito, come back, and yeah, just great times, great times. So, folks, turn your notifications on, and hope to see you again next time. We will be talking again conspiracy theories, tinfoil hats, and Culp
We should get
fiction.
some funny tinfoil hats or something.
we'll work it all out, the details out. But folks, thank you again. Please tell a friend, and hope you can share this. And if you enjoyed it, we hope to see you again next time. We'll see you guys.